Hello. YouTubers are supposed to have like gamer stuff behind them, so let me... You know, if you take just a normal Post-it note and you rip off like the top layer of it, you can use it as kind of a makeshift tape. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Nick here with another Sonic content, and I saw the Sonic the Hedgehog film last night, and I've had about half a day to think about it, and I wanted to make a YouTube video where I tell you my sincere thoughts about it. I've just moved into a new apartment, so I don't really have any of my gear set up yet. You're looking at a half-finished IKEA table right there. Still getting things together, but I do have an iPhone, and they say that's enough to make content these days. I have a few top-line thoughts about the Sonic the Hedgehog film. I think the comparison that is impossible not to make is to Detective Pikachu. And I would say I liked this 20% more than Detective Pikachu, a movie I didn't love. I liked the parts where Sonic went fast, and I'm not being silly there. The parts where it was an action movie were so good. I basically felt like, here's my actual top level opinion on this movie. None of the jokes were good. Any time characters weren't talking, it was a great movie. None of the humans really worked for me except, and I'm almost saying this in spite of myself, Jim Carrey as Dr. Ivo Robotnik. Maybe it's just that I have an affection for Jim Carrey that's built in, and I can't tell if he's a good Eggman or not, but he's a good Jim Carrey, and that was fun to watch for me. But yeah, here's an interesting thing. Sonic was cuter than I thought he'd be. I really, just based on the trailers, hated his appearance even after they fixed it. The hair levels, for obvious reasons, was a little too much for me. He was kind of adorable. He was kind of really cute and good and fun to look at, and there were moments where I was like, oh shit, that's Sonic. He looked like Sonic. I kind of found that the further away the camera was from Sonic's whole body, the more like Sonic he looked, and as you got closer, the more scary and un-Sonic-y he looked, the more you could see the detail level, the hair. He had kind of this stubble, this 5 o'clock shadow all over his face that you could see in some of the close-ups, but other than that, he looked good, was cute, rarely grossed me out, at least in terms of the design. He did gross me out when he farted and, spoiler warning, did the floss dance 2 times during the film. That grossed me out in sort of a different, less visceral, more cultural way. Yeah, it's that, and that's what I mean when I say the script is just a bad movie script. It hits every single beat that every single kind of mindless, dumb, heartless Detective Pikachu style PG action comedy does. And the comedy, to be straight up, wasn't good and didn't work for me. I don't think maybe I laughed a time, but I couldn't even tell you when or where it was. It was probably some Jim Carrey physical comedy. It's not funny. It's not a funny movie. I just wish there weren't any humans in it. I guess that's my takeaway, is there are moments in this movie where it's just Sonic doing stuff fast, and it's executed so well. There are these really well choreographed, well-directed action scenes, whether they're doing a time is moving slow because we're seeing it the way Sonic perceives it, mannequin challenge style thing, or just straight up, just any time nobody was talking, it was actually a pretty good movie. And it made me think in those moments, it almost felt like I was watching a CG animated Sonic film, which I think I would have liked more. I still don't buy that there needed to be humans in it and that it needed to be this Sonic placed in the real world conceit. I didn't love that ultimately. It's weird because there are cute inside jokes and references in it, and I don't really want to spoil those for people, but I spent a lot of time thinking about how many of those were put there by Tyson Hesse, the really, really phenomenally skilled and talented Sonic fan comic artist turned official Sonic artist turned director for the Sonic Mania intro, who was actually the guy they brought in to consult when they redesigned movie Sonic's appearance. Like, totally the right pick, totally the right guy, but I can't help but attribute every single one of this movie's wins to him. Like, bringing him in made Sonic look visually better. I suspect that like the character designs in the opening 5 minutes of the movie, we see Sonic in his original world, and there are these character models of the natives of Sonic's world hunting him, and they look like Sonic characters. Like they look like masked Sonic characters, except for one of them, the only one who speaks. I don't even want to talk about the owl. But the other characters in that world look like Sonic characters, and I suspect at one time they didn't. Like that feels like an area where, when Tyson stepped in, he would have been like, this should feel more Sonic-y and less like Avatar. But I'm totally guessing. I don't know that for a fact. Like when the character model redesign was announced, a lot of people got really, really excited because he looked better. And I agree that he looked better, but I didn't totally get excited because I was like, well, you're not redesigning the script. Like the things that bugged me about the trailer were not just the visuals, it was the sense of humor. And I kind of stand by that. I think that I think the movie is ultimately not funny, and that matters a lot to me. I'm not even interested in arguing over whether or not it's Sonic's sense of humor. It's just not a funny film. But it also, like, I don't know, I don't want to be too negative, right? Like it is ultimately you could argue that it's the least worst video game movie anyone's made so far, but that doesn't make it good. And I want to be careful of not doing the thing, you know how like Sonic fans have this like Stockholm syndrome where if a game comes out and is mediocre, they might mistake, I can't include this part, I'm gonna get crucified by Sonic fans. But you know, sometimes people who have been playing a game franchise that's been consistently bad for a really long time might mistake a mediocre game for a good one. And I think there's an element of that Stockholm syndrome here where we're like, just because this movie isn't a total disaster, we might mistakenly be tempted to call it good when it's not a good movie. It's exactly a mediocre movie, and it's better than Detective Pikachu. It was charming more often than Detective Pikachu. It definitely wasn't as gross as Detective Pikachu. There's only one fart joke instead of two. The action movie parts are good. Anytime someone's speaking, it stops being good. That's my verdict. I think the obvious question is like, okay, Nick, if you weren't satisfied by that film, what would you want out of a Sonic movie? And I think the answer is like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I don't mean like in terms of a bunch of alternate universe Sonics coming together, although maybe that would be cool. Get Where Sonic back in the mix. What I mean is like a movie that is like interesting and weird and risky and charming and visually pleasant to look at like the whole time. It would be cheaper to make than this movie was. I think it'd be a hell of a lot funnier. I think it would retain more of what I love about Sonic. Like one of my favorite moments in this whole movie is the end credits sequence. They do the typical movie thing where there's like a nice semi-animated end credits thing. They go about it in a non-typical way, but I appreciated it, and it made me think, damn, I wish I had seen an animated movie. I don't know if that's realistic. Maybe, I mean, by all accounts, this movie, I didn't look at reviews, but I've been told that this movie's doing well so far. So if that means that there will be other Sonic projects in the future, I'm not really excited for the sequel to this movie necessarily, but I am excited for more non-video game Sonic media to exist. And if this could, basically what I'm saying is give Tyson a budget and let him make Sonic Mania Adventures into a 90-minute movie with no dialogue. That's what Sonic should be in my IMO. Also, I should mention, so there's this app that I've been using since like a decade ago that I had on my very first like old crappy Android smartphone called RunPee. And it's an app where it tells you the times during a movie that you're watching in the theater when you should go pee, like when's a good time to take a pee break. And not only does it, like I know you have a lot of questions and I'm going to answer them. One, Do you really have to pee during a movie? Yes, every single time. With the exception, I think no, I peed during Parasite. I saw one movie this year that I didn't pee during, and I was really proud of that. But literally every movie I end up peeing at some point during it, usually in the bathroom, not in the theater. But this app tells you like a handful of ideal times to go pee during the movie. And the whole app is like dark, so it doesn't light up the theater when you're using it. But also better than that, they've thought of so many things, man. They have really optimized this for like people with small bladders, because if you can either look at the pee times ahead of time, see when they fall in the movie, and just memorize, like it'll say, hey, when Sonic says this line, now's a good time to go to the bathroom. There's a scene that doesn't have anything really important in it, Sonic's not in it. Or you can press a timer and have it vibrate in your pocket, so you don't even have to pull your phone out and be that person, to tell you when there's a pee time coming up in 60 seconds. And then on top of that, while you're peeing, the app gives you a 1 paragraph, I swear to God I'm not getting paid for this. The app gives you a 1 paragraph description of what's happening during the scene you're missing. So you don't even miss that much. So for the Sonic movie, for me, it was, I think there's a scene where Robotnik like turns on some music and starts dancing. I think it was in one of the trailers. I didn't see that scene because I was busy peeing, but I know everything that happened in it because of this app. Also, the app is free, so you get like, I think a small handful of P coins. There's a urine-based currency. You might not even need to buy them, but you can earn more by watching like ads or whatever. I just pay for them because I want to support this family. It's like a family-owned, this is one of the things that I feel really good supporting, even though they don't have like any sponsorship, official sponsorship relationship with me. The reason I think I'm so cognizant of them right now is I sent them a support message a while ago, just with a feature request that I wanted. And not only did they respond quickly, but the response was from the dad of the family who made the app. It's like a family business, and the members of the family, and I think some freelancers, go to movies together and then like come up with the best pee times and load them into the app. But I hit him up like, hey, I would really love this feature in your app. I'm a big avid user of it, have been for 10 years. And he replied saying, I'll add that in the next update. And also, I just checked out your YouTube channel and I think it's cool and I would love to collaborate in some way. So again, not paid, not a formal sponsorship. I think they might put a link to my YouTube channel in the app somewhere. Not that I think like that's gonna drive a lot of people to my channel, because I don't think the ideal time to discover a YouTuber is when you're sitting down in a movie theater trying to tap through an ad quickly so you can get to the pee timer. I don't think a lot of people discover their YouTube channels that way. So remains to be seen. But one way or the other, I just have always wanted to talk about this app. Cool thing that happened when I sat down in the theater and loaded it up to use it for Sonic, I opened it while I was waiting for like during the trailers, and I went to go set up the timer, and when I opened the app, there was a custom message that the guy had written to me saying he had just loaded my account with 99 P coins and that I was essentially set for life. I will never, I'm really a Scrooge McDuck of P coins at this point, which is, that alone is a reward that you can't put a price tag on. I mean, you can buy an unlimited P coin in the app if you wanted to, and it's pretty cheap, but yeah, dude. All right, well, thank you for watching. More videos to come in the near future. I'm writing the scripts for them now and getting my gear set up, like this table, and then there will be some content coming your way. I don't want to give anything away, but it involves video games, maybe. Thank you for watching, and it's gonna be a peace out from Dr. Eggman.